You didn't imagine it. The stillness when they entered your life, the way your spirit hushed, as if heaven leaned in to listen. It wasn't a dream, it was a signal. There are connections forged in chaos, and then there are connections forged in covenant. Some love comes loud and leaves empty, but the kind heaven sends moves like prophecy, soft enough to steady your soul, sharp enough to divide what's divine from what's distraction. So I ask you now, was it just attraction, or did the atmosphere shift? Because when God chooses someone for you, it doesn't feel like fire. It feels like home, the kind of home your soul remembers, even if your mind can't explain. This is not romance wrapped in human timing. This is a scroll unsealing itself, right in front of your eyes. A blueprint buried in your spirit begins to glow. The ache, the waiting, the resistance to settle, they were never random. They were your spirit refusing to marry anything beneath your mantle. The world told you love should feel like lightning. But the kingdom sends love that roots like an oak tree. Deep, steady, ordained. This is echoes of the chosen, and if your spirit has been restless in rooms that looked right but felt wrong, you are in the right place. Because the kind of love God ordains doesn't just soothe your loneliness, it activates your assignment. Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken, but that verse isn't just about marriage, it's about mission. God isn't sending you comfort. He's sending you a co-laborer, a fellow warrior, a mirror to your mantle. And when they arrive, the battle changes. Stay with me. Don't miss a second of this. Because in the next few moments, I'm going to unveil 4 signs, not theories, but prophetic confirmations, that the person in your life may have been handpicked by God Himself. If you've been in a season of waiting, of guarding your heart, of wondering why almost never felt right, this might explain your entire journey. This could be the moment the scroll begins to open. Divine marking, the signs you were chosen. Before you knew, some people enter warfare because of decisions they made. You entered warfare simply because of who you are. There were signs, early ones. You didn't fit in where others flourished. You felt watched, even in silence. You were targeted before you even knew your own worth, and that's because the mark came before the mission. Chosen ones are rarely recognized by the world, but always seen by the spirit realm. Heaven covers them. Hell confronts them. Joseph didn't ask for the dream. The dream found him, and with it came betrayal, isolation, and misunderstanding. Not because he failed, but because he was marked. You weren't rejected because you were weak. You were rejected because you carried weight, that strange loneliness, the pattern of early heartbreaks, the premature loss. It was never random. It was the enemy trying to sabotage your scroll before you could read it. The silence wasn't a void. It was surveillance. Heaven was guarding you, even when no one stood beside you. Let that settle into your spirit. The warfare wasn't proof you were cursed. It was proof you were chosen. Seasons of silence, when obscurity becomes the oil. There are seasons where heaven seems quiet. Prayers feel like they vanish. Doors don't open. People walk away. Everything feels paused. But chosen ones must be hidden before they are revealed, not as punishment, as preservation. David was anointed king, then sent back to tend sheep. Not because the oil was fake, but because the field was the forge. In silence, God rewires the heart. He strips away the addiction to applause. He untangles our worth from visibility. Obscurity is not rejection. It's recalibration. You may feel forgotten, but what you're calling delay is God rehearsing your soul for sacred weight. This is the place where your faith grows teeth, where your roots go deeper than your reach, where heaven says, not yet, not until you're ready to last. Because elevation without foundation is destruction. So He lets you ache. He lets you long. until the only thing you trust more than the outcome is His voice in the stillness. You're not behind. You're being built. The fire and the forge. The altar where purpose is born. You prayed for power. God sent pain, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Betrayal, loss, abandonment, humiliation, these are not curses to the chosen. They are carvings. The deeper the wound, the clearer the vessel. Moses was raised in a palace, but he didn't become deliverer until the wilderness, until he was stripped of identity, pride, position, until all he had left was obedience. God does not anoint performance. He anoints surrender. And the fire you went through, it wasn't sent to consume you. It was sent to consecrate you. The forge is brutal, because the call is eternal. This is where the noise dies, where the idols fall, where you finally say, "Even if you slay me, yet will I trust you." It's where the fire reveals the metal. And when you step out of that place, you don't just have power, you have authority. And heaven does not release authority lightly. So if you've been in the fire, don't rush out. The heat is holy. Spiritual consequences. When chosen ones settle or turn back. You can't walk like everyone else. You can't date like everyone else. You can't build like everyone else. Because when you are chosen, there is a weight to your yes and consequences to your no. When Jonah ran from his assignment, a storm rose, not just around him, but around everyone connected to him. Disobedience doesn't always look like rebellion. Sometimes it looks like compromise, settling, shrinking, staying in the wrong place with the wrong people because it feels safer than stepping into fire. But what feels safe to your flesh can be sabotage to your scroll. You are an answer to someone else's deliverance. If you hide, they stay bound. Hell doesn't need you to fall. It just needs you to delay, to wait one more year, to doubt one more time, to partner with just enough distraction that you survive, but never awaken. But here is the mercy. Even when you fall, God rewrites around your hesitation. He restores what was lost. But the scars, they speak. This is your turning point. Don't play small with a mantle that was forged in fire. Supernatural authority, the mantle that cannot be imitated. There's a difference between gifted and mantled. Gifts impress. Mantles shift atmospheres. When God chooses someone, He doesn't just give them ability. He gives them access. Access to realms. Access to insight. Access to break chains others normalize. Elijah didn't just call down fire, he carried it. Where he walked, heaven responded. That's authority. And here's what most don't realize. Authority is not about shouting louder. It's about hearing clearer. The chosen move differently. Speak differently. They can walk into a room and what was hiding comes to the surface. You don't need to prove anything. The oil speaks for itself. But this kind of mantle only rests on the yielded. The ones who said yes in the silence. The ones who stayed in the fire. The ones who let God break their pride and rebuild them with purpose. And when that mantle rests on you, hell takes notice. But heaven stands behind you. You don't walk in confidence. You walk in covenant. Heaven's assignment. Your life was meant to shake the earth. You are not alive to survive. You were sent to establish territory. Assignment is not about busyness. It's about eternal weight. God does not place oil on empty vessels. He fills those ready to be poured. Look at Paul, a former persecutor, transformed, called, sent, not just with words, but with weight. His life left a residue of heaven on the earth. Your assignment may not be public, but it will always be prophetic. It will interrupt cycles, break generational patterns, ignite dormant destinies. You were not saved just to be healed. You were saved to be sent. That's why hell came for you so young. Why the battles were disproportionate. Because your scroll contains deliverance for others. You carry blueprints. You carry thunder. You carry mercy. So the question is not, am I called? The question is, am I willing to carry it? The rise of the remnant. You are not the only one you felt alone, misunderstood, too deep, too much, too intense for the surface-level spaces around you. But here's the truth. There are others, scattered across cities, nations, families, timelines. They've walked through fire too. They've been marked too. You are not an accident. You are an echo of a remnant rising, in caves like Elijah, in prisons like Joseph, in the background like David, in waiting like Mary, all preparing in silence, all waking up to the same sound. The King is calling, and as you awaken, so will they. You're not building alone. You're part of an uprising of those who refuse to bow, refuse to settle, refuse to hand their scroll to counterfeit altars. The remnant is rising, and you are one of them. Echo activation. What you carry was never just for you. The oil on your life is not just for healing. It's for heritage. Your choices ripple. Your purity echoes. Your obedience unlocks scrolls in others. When you rise, generations stand up behind you. This is why the pressure has been so heavy. Why your pain felt generational. Because it was. You were born to break what broke them, and build what they never had the strength to see. What you carry must echo into nations, bloodlines, timelines. Let the trauma stop with you. Let the revival start with you. You are not just a chosen one. You are a door. And every step you take in obedience cracks open a heaven others forgot how to reach. This is your scroll. This is your moment. The echo has begun. You were not overlooked. You were encrypted. Heaven hid you in plain sight, because what's written on your scroll could not be tampered with. All the silence, all the delay, all the heartbreak that didn't make sense at the time, they weren't detours. They were divine encryption protocols. Heaven was guarding something dangerous to darkness. You are not behind. You are becoming. And now the moment has come where becoming must give way to being. No more shrinking, no more questioning, no more apologizing for the oil you carry. You are one of the chosen, not by popularity, by prophecy. Not because you were qualified, because you were called. You were not shaped in the spotlight. You were forged in the silence. And now you stand on the threshold of something irreversible. You cannot unknow what you've just heard. You cannot unsee what your spirit has now remembered. So let this word seal your soul. You have been marked. You have been forged. And now, you are being sent. If something deep within you just aligned, if this felt like confirmation of everything you couldn't explain, comment 777 right now below. Let that number echo into the spirit realm. Let it be your yes, your I remember, your I rise. And don't keep this word to yourself. If any part of this stirred your spirit, share it in the comments. What pierced you? What healed you? What called your name? Because somewhere out there, another chosen one is still searching for the language to explain their ache. And your testimony may be their unlocking. Subscribe to Echoes of the Chosen, because this isn't just a channel. It's a vault of scrolls. A gathering place for the hidden, the rising, the remnant. You are not alone. You are the next echo.